Mm-hmm.
But let me just caution you, when you build something, it can be reverse engineered like that. And not from China anymore, but literally some dude, some 50-year-old vibe coder could unwrap your thing just like that. So
Mm-hmm.
what now you have to do is introduce speed to the game. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. So, this is the big thing that she said. She said that if you are going out there with AI and you're creating wrappers, then you've just basically introduced potential failure into your business. Risk.
Mm-hmm.
That stood out to me, Rob, because as we think about and talk about AI, and we're going to show a couple of them right now, the main thing that we want to do is create things or create in an area that's not a wrapper. That's
Mm-hmm.
not saying, hey, I'm using OpenAI's API, I'm using Google's API, I'm using this to build this thing, and I'm going to make a bag from it. If you're doing that, you better move fast because
Mm-hmm.
I now, in the weekends and all this time that I have been figuring out, like that one commercial says, disappear and come back, learn AI. And
Yep.
I've done it and I'm digging in and I can now go, oh, I can reverse engineer that.
Reverse
I can
engineer.
almost
Yeah.
reverse engineer it from an image.
Mm-hmm.
So if whatever you're creating in the AI space, and this is why Rob and I are masterminding on it, then we want you to be creating things that reduce risk. And that's when I was talking to you about, well, what this lady that I was on this podcast listening to, she says, just go create things, help people that have these traditional businesses, these railroad type businesses, metaphor for stuff that no matter what, they're going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce AI principles or AI tools and what you can do into it and bounce. I
Yeah.
kid you not, that's the play.
Yeah.
Here, I built this thing for you, 10 grand, I'm out.
Yeah.
Come into your
Now that's it.
company? No, that's a lot of money.
So when you talk about the reducing the risk and that whole idea of if you just building wrappers, you're adding risk. Like talk a little bit about what's the risk that people are running. What are they kind of
Yeah.
what's the negative possibility?
The biggest risk is that the person that you're using their API credits goes, thank you. That's a good idea. We're going to build that now.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Amazon problem.
It's what we call platform risk. It's what's
Platform risk.
called
Yeah.
platform. I'm gonna tell you. Here's a personal story. So I was an investor in a juice bar. Okay, great. Investor in a juice bar. We're making juice for and I don't know if I even should say their name because I'm about to get with them. But anyway,
Large
so
grocery chain.
very large grocery chain. We're like filling juice, orders, the whole thing. We're putting it on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
We did all the work. Hey, you got to make sure this has shelf life. Okay, no problem. We got it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Put it
Built the
on the
market.
shelves. And now, of course, our costs go up because we got to do all
Mm-hmm.
these extra things. It got to last longer. It's not just selling juice out of the bar there where people are going to consume
Mm-hmm.
it. Boom, right? Okay, great. We do all that. We get a co-packer, all that. Oh, cost, 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 cost.
Mm-hmm.
And them suckers, this is what they did. And y'all hear me now. They created their own juice using some of the same ingredients, but almost half the price.
Yep.
Platform risk. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
we made the market for them.
Mm-hmm.
They says, "Oh, people want fresh squirrel, blah blah blah. Oh, we can do that. We're gonna slap our
Mm-hmm.
label on it. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna slap our label on it. We're going to put it right next to yours."
Mm-hmm.
Platform risk. So when we
Yep.
start thinking about this now, the there's of several schools of thought.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I want to share with you all, because we're this is our AI episode, right? This is what we were tasked with doing is say, hey, coming up with some AIs that I think are like out there doing some good stuff, blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
But let me just caution you, when you build something, it can be reverse engineered like that. And not from China anymore, but literally some dude, some 50-year-old vibe coder could unwrap your thing just like that. So
Hmm.
what now you have to do is introduce speed to the game. And instead of going into, and this is what Rob and I were talking about, going into companies because we're kind of like, I don't like doing it, working with, a whole bunch of clients because, clients can be a pain in the butt, expectations and the whole thing. Now it's like, hey, I built this for you. Would you like it?
Hmm.
And they go, oh, yes. Well, here it is. Give me 10 grand. Give me 20 grand.
Hmm.
Give me 15 grand,
Hmm.
30 grand, whatever it is. It's almost
Hmm.
like you are back to, instead of software as a service,
Hmm.
you're back to here's the software,
Yeah.
but it's AI based. It'll help your company. You need me again. That becomes a different conversation.
Yeah. It's process improvement, basically,
That part,
but with AI. Yeah.
process improvement, and you've got AI, and that's what. See, I get mad at Rob sometimes because Rob, and he probably looks at me and go, "Bro, stop chasing." He said something earlier. I want everybody to hear this because in the comments, I want you making some mention of it. Who's right, who's wrong. So
Hmm.
Rob says, it sounds new shiny thingy. And I'm gonna tell you, with all the AI that's rolling out,
Hmm.
you're going to hear that a lot. And a lot of things
Hmm.
are rolling out, depending on when you're listening to this. The newest one. First, it was Nano Banana. Terrible
Hmm.
name, Google, but golly, it was like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And then OpenAI says, really? How about Sora too? And then they did something that I was listening to this guy named Matt Mazzio, I think, and he was saying every successful, and I'm sorry, Matt, if you hear this, I'm messing up your quote here. So he says every successful, software or a social media kind of a thing has been one that has kind of like community baked in.
Hmm.
And he says that most of the AIs that are being built, they're siloed. Here's a thing, do it, boom.
Hmm.
But there was no, hey, here's a thing, everybody come around it. It becomes instantly shareable and fun and all that kind of stuff. And therefore it grows from that perspective. But when Sora 2 just came out, they just literally created kind of a potentially viral moments for what you can do with it,
Hmm.
right? Not only for yourself. Now, I've applied for it, access to it, but guess what? Guess what they rolled it out on first?
Wow.
iOS.
Oh yeah.
I'm Android,
Yep.
but I happen to have an iPad.
iPad.
So I'm like, hey, I'm in. And then they did something very smart. Now they may roll it out free, but they tiered it. If you have the higher tier, you get it. Or, oh, you just want to check it out? You can pay this. And it can do
Hmm.
some amazing. People are on internet going nuts over it. Now, keep
Hmm.
in mind, new shiny thingy, Nano Banana comes out, but before that, it was remember VO3. So you're like, but now what a lot of people are doing is to saying, okay, I'm gonna use the API. I'm gonna, use like we were talking earlier, innate in or make, right? Or
Hmm.
make that is basically a agent that goes out and says, hey, I'm gonna, or workflow opportunity where it just calls and says, I want to use the API, I want to do this, this, and this, and if this happens, that happens.
Hmm.
So still, I want to show, man, I like all-in-one solutions, right? So
Yeah.
every so guys, get this, y'all. I have Galaxy AI. Anytime it's kind of ticking me off because there's like 3,000 things you can do in it. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
It is crazy the stuff that you can do in there. Now, it is doing something very smart by saying, "Oh, by the way, hey, you can run out of credits." It's like
Hmm.
I don't want to
I
run out of
don't want to
credits,
run actor.
and that's the game. This is something I want everybody out here that's listening to us right now to say that is the new game. The new game is to make your stuff in such a way that people can run out of credits,
Hmm.
right? You get this many for this many. Now it's kind of, we've also called that productized service.
Hmm.
We've called it productized service in certain situations. I got to go and get my password in and all that kind of stuff. But it is, I'm telling you, Rob, it's so exciting seeing these things come out. But now I got game, and that game is knowing whether or not it's a wrapper or if you can build something interesting that goes in and is a workflow for a company. Boom, here it is. I'm out. And then you go on vacation somewhere,
Hmm. Yeah, I love it.
right? And I actually just had to change it up because I let my VA go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wasn't
Mm,
doing the job.
got it.
She wasn't doing a good job. So, we'll talk about that on another day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, anyway, let's see if this is, I want to show you this particular one so that, yeah, here it is. This tool right here does a whole bunch of stuff. Now, then, and the wonderful thing about this, that it also incentivizes you. So look at it. Here it is. Hey, Natalie, what's going on? We got a bundle offer? Oh, 15 bucks a month. So now I can use different models if I want to. If I say I want to go into video, then it says, okay, you do. Oh, that's fine. What video, which one would you like to use? Would you like to use VO3? Right? And I says, well, no, I think I want to do Nano Banana. Uh, why they named it that? Nobody can spell that. Nano Banana. All right, where's it? Video. So and so I was in here the other day and I couldn't find stuff because look, all tools, 3,333 tools.
Hmm.
All right. So let's go back to where you at. Oh, it must not have it. I know it does have it. So anyway, so it gives you all these different things, right? AI kissing video generator, obviously you can take pictures and turn them into different things. Add
Hmm.
audio. I've been doing a lot of what I've been using a lot for is like music, create my
Hmm.
own music. So if I want to go and create some music, I can do that, right? I like that category. So AI voice cloner, that's one you might want to use because instead of getting Synthesia or HeyGen or whatever, right? You can use that. I go into this one a lot. Text to speech, transcription, all kind podcast generator. So now, new shiny thing, if you have that disease,
Hmm.
this right here is going to make it worse or better. I don't know how you want to look at it. So I 15 bucks, I go, I think I'm gonna keep it. Because these are a whole bunch of services that are probably wrappers. Could we
Scary.
go right to
Mm.
OpenAI? Yeah. There was this one out, Rob, and I want to tell everybody this because this is how we start thinking about these tools. There was one out, man. They want like $79 a month, $99, and then 200 is some crazy number. So
Hmm.
I go directly over to Claude and I
Hmm.
say, I think I would like to clone this app. What would I
Hmm.
have to do that? And it tells me. So I says, are
Wow.
you saying that I don't need This, it says, well, they're calling an API. So I says, so I can basically call the API myself. Yes. I can tell it
Yeah.
to use the API.
Hmm.
So you start seeing that, yes, do we want to use these tools? Yes. But we also want to be able to discern when, if we create one to sell, it
Hmm.
can get disrupted.
Hmm.
Right now, I go right over. I was using this one right here, Rob, the other day. Can you see this okay?
Yeah.
This is a new one. It came out, boom, like, 2 weeks ago or something, it seems. So I go in, all right, cool. Yeah, all right, man. I got 83 credits. I bought the $20 a month per package, blah, blah, blah. And it took me a while to kind of get it. Now, what ended up making me go into it deeper was I couldn't find the code. So now I'm all over perplexity saying, where's the code at? I can't find it. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, whose API is this app using?
Hmm.
And it said, well, most
Um,
likely it's
just for
using.
everybody to understand, what does emergent do?
So, okay, emergent sh. This app is supposed to be able to build things as your front end and your back end. So you could save time on deployment. Whereas,
Mm,
like, you got Lovable, you got Bolt, you got Replit, you got all these different vibe coding type tools. Vibe coding just basically means I can just talk it or I can just type it and I feel in a certain way and it'll do it for me. Well,
mhm,
but then you got to connect stuff. You got to go,
mhm,
well, I got to connect it to GitHub, and I don't know how to do
mhm,
that because I'm not a
mhm,
coder. I, I got to
mhm,
do this. And then uh, um, Dharmesh Shah was saying that, hey, look, you can vibe code all you want to, but
mhm,
they're all going to eventually break
mhm,
because they haven't been hard coded with all the security, blah, 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 blah. All right. So this
mhm,
one right here was a way to do different things. So I built some stuff. Look at this. 9 days ago, I built the content gold mine.
mhm,
Right now, watch you talk about, bro. I was feeling so good when I built this because
mhm,
I can see I needed this for myself. Watch this, y'all. Extract sellable content or products from any content. Now I built this for myself,
mhm,
right? And I says I want to be able to paste in my content and this thing will create all kinds of cool stuff for me. If I roll this out now, I was like all geeked up and I'm ready to roll it out and start selling it. And I started thinking, wait a minute, this is just a wrapper. Now I'm going to still launch, put
right.
it out there, but keep in mind, I'm using it for me first because I want to be able to say, okay, hey, here's what I put some content on. I need this to do this for me. Give me 5 to 7 ideas, give me some target audiences, give me some commercial potential, and give me some key insights. Now, could I
Mhm,
go over to Google LM and do the same thing? Kind of, sort of, but not directly the same, right? And I can't sell Google stuff, is my point, right? I wanted something I
mhm,
could sell. All right. So I go in, I build that, right? So I go, okay, great. Again, you start seeing these kind of apps, front end, back end. I can sell, I can, launch this thing. If I open it up in a new tab, let me show you how it looks. It looks awesome, right? It's, white
mhm,
background, saved analysis. Okay, I don't need to wake up the servers. This is what it's going to do. I'm going to type in, put in my transcript, minimum character, or whatever. And then it's going to say, okay, well, based on what you just said here, now what this allowed me to do is look at this other thing that was getting ready to charge $299 a month and go, I don't need you.
mhm,
I created my own. Now we want you
mhm.
doing that. That's why we want the mastermind list. We want you creating this stuff. But then I
Yeah.
says, well, couldn't I just go to Claude and build something? And it says, Claude says, yeah, you could just, it basically, yeah, you could just come right here and we'll build it for you. And what Claude has done is created an interface. You used to have to work with Claude and Cursor, which basically
Mhm,
allows you to see it in this pretty fancy way, right?
mhm,
And then emergent was so new, but then you start digging in and going, oh, wait a minute. The latest one, Rob, was this. So I had an idea. And I
Mm-hmm.
says, hey, I wrote a book from the bathtub, everybody, and I want to share with you how I did it. And it said,
Mm-hmm.
so I just threw in the words and I says, make me a blah, 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 blah based on this. And it says, okay, great. So here's what it came up with. It was awesome, man. I was like, I love this thing. I wrote a book from my bathtub and turned it into income. Here's the exact framework you can still, even if you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So I says, this is awesome. I
Yeah.
want it now. But then I couldn't find, I was looking all over for the code because I was just going to take the code. And here is the magic, y'all. In order for you to get your mind around some of this new stuff that's happening, ask yourself, how can it merge with and how can I use it with some of my legacy tools? Remember, I talked about that. Oh, I got so many darn
Mm-hmm.
tools.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I'm
we talked about that
constantly
a couple
asking
weeks
that.
ago. Yep.
How can I
So
do
so
that?
so let me pause you real quick because I want to dig into that question because right, I think for a lot of people, right, figuring out how to build the website, like the fact that it can create basically your sales page, right, your landing page, your sales page, this is
Yes,
amazing. But how do you take this and upload it so that it's actually outward facing? Like, is that a step that this does for you? Is that one of the extra steps that you're talking about? Like, what is that process
I'm
that,
I'm
that you're dealing with there?
I'm glad you asked because once you start scratching beneath the surface, right? Now, let's say, for example, you have your WordPresses, your Wixes, your, whatever it is you have,
Go high
and it
level,
says,
right?
yeah, go high levels. It says, we're going to charge you X amount a month, and you go and build your own stuff. But now you have the component of time. Oh, I got to
Mhm,
build it. And you're like, maybe I better look for somebody to do it. Or, so
mhm,
now you got time. I got to build it. I don't know quite how to build it, but I
mhm,
got to do it.
mhm.
So this thing says, no, no, we got it. We'll build it for you. And you look at it and go, oh, man, that's awesome. And then you start discovering, well, when people come to it and they have to do an action, we charge you credits. So, oh, and do you have to make a change? Because I got this and I says, well, the links don't work. So I need them to work with, so you can, of course, tell it, well,
Mhm,
what would you like us to do next? Well, I need it to work with my email service. And here is the blah. Here's the integration with
mhm.
it. So then it says, oh, okay, your credits go down. So I'm like, wait a minute, this could get out of hand. Oh, and when people come to it, in certain cases, right? When you have to do certain things, I started digging in, and it's just like, how's this gonna go into it, right? I said, it says connect to GitHub, it says blah, blah. I said, so are you telling me that every time I do this, it costs me this many credits? So if I have a whole bunch of people do that thing, it's just gonna rack up. I says, well, didn't wouldn't it
It
make
becomes a
sense?
variable cost in your business.
That's it. I says, wouldn't it make sense that I get my own server, not at the house sitting in the basement, but I go out there and
Cloud.
you get some hosting or whatever, some cloud
Yeah,
serving
cloud
and all
based.
that.
Yep.
And it said, yeah. Then I said, well, if I go and do that, then couldn't I save a lot of money? And it said, yeah. I said,
Hmm.
show me. And I then went over to the source itself, Claude. Oh, I didn't put my thing in. Oh, I see. I went over to Claude and said because I figured out what it actually who it calls, right? And I says, hey, wait a minute. I think I could do those same kind of things with what you're doing. So it's telling me, yeah, oh, yep, you could. And here's the code. That was the main thing I was upset with Emergent about. I couldn't find the code. They didn't make it easy, right? Oh, it's over here. Is a page, and you gotta, put in a code. I was like, look, dude, I just want the code. Now,
Hmm.
okay, before my vibe coding brethren get out there and get all over me because you're mad now that you figured this out, that Lovable is basically gonna cost you a lot of money just to have these things work, and you got to do work. Although it's pretty, you might as well go to the source. That's the lesson
Mm-hmm.
here. You might as well, even though this looks good now, I'm going to be showing you, and maybe I'll leave this in our notes, Rob, how you can
Mm-hmm.
take this and turn it into a whole lot of stuff. First, I could take this over to Lovable and I say, hey, Lovable, build this, but I want to see the code. And it'll build me something that may not even have, the little dancing thing, but we can figure that out,
Mm-hmm.
right? We say, hey, how's that thing move? And it says, oh, well, this is how. So I go, Claude, why don't you just build that for me? And I'm going to now take it over to my own server so that when people call,
Mm-hmm.
now when I charge 20, 30 bucks, I'm not losing money because, bro, these things are losing these places a lot of money. You talk about a bubble. Anyway, I didn't want to get too much into that, y'all. I just wanted to share
Mm-hmm.
with you how quickly we need to be creating, and I mean fast. Ship, sell, make your money. Because
Yep.
soon as some 50-year-old vibe coder comes along that's got some experiences and got some stuff going on, they're going to unwrap
Mhm.
it.
So here's a question that I have that I think some of the audience might be asking because right, this can get overwhelming really quick.
Really quick.
So when you're thinking about the steps that are necessary, right? Like so we know when we coach students, we walk them through,
Yeah.
right? You develop your ideal customer, you figure out the problem that you solve, you figure out the solution that you're doing, you figure out the product or the service and how it does that, you figure out your branding, you do all the rest of that type of stuff. But like this idea of launching a product, going from zero to launch, a lot of the stuff of the kind of brainstorming and thought work, there's tons of stuff out there. But I think what you're looking at and what you're talking about, and this is the part that so many people get stuck in, is
Mhm.
how do I get it to the market in a way that it's actually that it actually feels like it's professional enough to go out there, right? Because you got Samcart, you've got ClickFunnels, you've got
Yeah.
what's the Go High Level. You got a
Yeah.
bunch of these different
Yeah.
platforms that have made it easier to put stuff up on the internet. But you and I both know that the sales pages of those things, the key thing that they do is yes, you can use the tools to get it up into the internet, but can you make it look like it's supposed to look and read like it's supposed to read and do what it's supposed to do? And that's the part I'm wondering, what are the tools that you found that allow you to do both the ease of uploading while also having your copy set the way that it's supposed to be set? Because that's the part for
Well,
me, like for me personally, that's the part that's always annoying. I can write copy and I can use the tools, but then the graphic arts part of it and making it look visually appealing, that's the part that for me, I'm looking for AI to really help with. But what are those
it can.
steps that you wind up doing, and what are some tools that you found that make it easy for someone to go from an idea? And let's say we wanted to sell something simple, right?
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
say that we wanted to sell, like, so we get plenty of people that do in the accelerator that we used to that you still teach with that I used to teach with, right? There's plenty of people that used to have candle businesses. So
Mhm.
let's take a candle business as an example. If I have a candle business and I want to get it up quickly, and I've got some photos of my candles, I've even got some videos of me talking about candles. I've got all of that stuff. I've got all of these resources, but what are the tools that you would use to build that site in a day instead of it taking 3, 4 weeks, like,
Yeah. In less than a day, actually,
or
now.
$3, $4,000?
So here's the big deal. You're going to use a combination. You can use some vibe coding tools, and then we're
Mm-hmm.
going to use some legacy tools, right? I'm going to show you what I created, and this is what I have been struggling with as well,
Mm-hmm.
because I got back end opportunities with other things. So here's one of my sites, makemoneywithit.com.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I did was is I took the code and I figured out how to put it into my other tool that does more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
At first, it was like, well, okay, I see that, but then the links ain't gonna work. And that was until I figured out once I was in this source itself like. I went right to Claude and says, hey, Claude, make sure you put this link in right
Hmm.
to where it's supposed to go. Boom, here. So
What
in the
makes you
call
pick?
to action links,
What makes you use Claude in that instance instead of ChatGPT or Perplexity?
Claude, I have found that Claude is better at code and is better at words. So here's the thing. ChatGPT has been just their newest stuff, man, with 4.0 was better at doing images than its
Mm-hmm.
newest.
Hmm.
So then you're like, but then its code was better and it was better at, making let's say articles and stuff like that without having a whole bunch of plagiarism and all these type of things. So so what you're doing is going, I would love to stick with one, like I said earlier, to have it all in one, but they're making it
Hmm.
impossible. So
Hmm.
instead
Hmm.
of sticking with one, you may find yourself. I typically, here's my stack. I'll go to Perplexity, ask a question
Hmm.
because it's real time.
Yeah.
Very rarely now do I use Google. Just saying,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah. I always feel like I do the same thing. Perplexity to me is Google on steroids.
That's it. So now I ask the question, look at the resources and all that kind of stuff, right? And I go,
Hmm.
sometimes I'll say, hey, walk that down for me. Give me an idea based on real time information on what's being happening out there, what's popular, and et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And then that start there. Then I go and say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm actually more going toward Claude now. I actually paid the
Hmm.
$20 a month, whatever. So then
Okay.
I'll go into Claude and says, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. Be my thinking partner with me here and help me build this
Hmm.
because it'll build stuff for you." It built me the other day an email template generator, which I needed for,
Hmm.
some automation stuff that I'm doing.
Hmm.
So now I'm going, so it looks like I'm going to be spending about $100 a month on just these tools. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then the ideal is that you produce so much and you can
Yeah.
do it so fast. So that's my stack. Now, here's what I did. I combined this with one of my legacy tools, System.io,
Hmm.
because I pay for it already. Now, I
Hmm.
use two different LMSs, right? I always like to have a backup, even in my LMSs. One does like I can one one allows me to like cancel out Zoom and use it as the Zoom because it has an integration.
Hmm.
It has a
Hmm.
very easy way to build different funnel type things. I had my virtual assistant literally just using it, right? Because I
Hmm.
didn't want her to mess with my system IO, right? Anyway, so I says, I think I need to stop that because this is going to get expensive, very
Hmm.
expensive. So I says, I like the legacy tools because they allow me to do automations. It allows me to do email marketing. I can do my blogs here. So I kept it.
Hmm.
And
And so,
I,
just to be clear, when you wrote
uh-huh,
this up, you had Claude code this entire thing. So, from the color
yes,
background to the animated icon
yep.
down to the countdown timer.
I took it from here. Remember, this is how it did look. I actually liked
Hmm.
the green.
Hmm.
But when it redid it, if you notice a lot of vibe coding stuff has got a purple accent to it. If you notice a lot
Hmm.
of them, they have it. But then again, that's what my
Hmm.
background is right there. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm with it. But I like this. Now I could have told it to do neon green, or I could have went into the
Hmm.
source code or something like that and found that color. But I says, hey, it's all right. Show me what you got. Show me what you can
Hmm.
do. Right.
Hmm.
And this is kind of how you see, look at that deep teal. I could change
Hmm.
it there electric orange accent and CTAs. Now, this is where I would literally change that. I would go in and I
Hmm.
would say, no, I would rather have another color. Bam.
Right. Right.
Put it in, code, get them to do your code, right? And then you go, okay, well, this is what you got. Now give me the code for that because I'm getting ready to take it over to my
Hmm.
LMS, make sure that it'll talk with my LMS right.
Nice.
And that's what I did. So I went over here and I says, great. And I says, now I need this button when I click it to go over to something else. And then I
Hmm.
says, wait a minute. If I click this button, you see how it went all the way down to the bottom? I would
Hmm.
typically have to do that in my, whether it's go high level or whatever. I got to make sure that it boom, boom, boom
Hmm.
does a thing. So then I says, well, I need to make sure that this goes over to my Get My Guides page for now. And I
Mm-hmm.
literally just told it that. So I'm using the best of both worlds. Here's
Mm-hmm.
my Get My Guides page, which is on my LMS. It allows me to collect my emails and do more things. I was
Mm-hmm.
able to tell it to put that in. Now, again, I went to the source. Now I don't have to have emergent.
Yeah.
I may use the free version of emergent just to give a visual. So now I'm
Yeah.
using it like Figma. Now,
Mm.
y'all might not know none of these tools, but Figma sold
There'll
for
be links in the down.
multi-billions of dollars
Right.
because it helps you visually put stuff together before to do wireframe, all kinds of stuff. Right now, I go, hey, Claude, do a wireframe for me, please. Can you wireframe this and tell me how that might look as a wireframe? Because I'm going to end up, it literally said to me, well, you've cut out the middleman. And I says, huh, you're right. Then it says, I said something like this the other day. I told it, I've uploaded a PDF. I had created a
Mm-hmm.
PDF somewhere else. I uploaded the PDF and I says, use this as my call to action buttons. Right? You see
Mm-hmm.
it. Here's what I want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like calling things free, so come up with a name that shows value, but is essentially free. I will
Mm-hmm.
use it to gather emails. Use a monetize your life guide product to 2025 in the footer. This is things that you just kind of learn as you
Mm-hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I says, check your answers. Do not make any stats up. Do not hallucinate. Do not make up any false testimonials, other than to say get ahead of thousands of users and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then it says, okay, great. I've seen what you put in here. Here is what we should do.
Nice.
That part is right. We used to have to go to the lovables before we knew, or the replets, or the bolts, or whatever, right? The next new tool up
Mm-hmm.
until you learn, hey, well, just go to the source and I can get past this. $99 for this one. And this is the one
Mm-hmm.
that made me so mad. It was two of them actually. One was oh, what's the name of it? Oh, shoot, maybe I shouldn't even say the name. But anyway, it was a app that you could like put all kind of information on, draw little lines to your little area, and
Mm-hmm.
then say, hey, it was like Node. It was like this one right here. I'm gonna show you this real quick because Rob's got to get out of here. It was like nodeflow.ai. So I found Nodeflow, which was significantly cheaper than this other one. So I says,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Nodeflow is kind of like, okay, this is what the other one did. You could put all kinds of stuff. You could put YouTube videos. You could put, hey, here's a PDF of me talking, and da da da, and then it would then create something on the right hand side. So I found this one, and I says, well, this one is way cheaper than this other one.
Mm-hmm.
The name ain't as great as the other one, but they essentially do the same things. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute, this is really pissing me off. They were much cheaper, and then they went up in price. So I
Mm-hmm.
went over here and it says, wait, now you guys want $50 a month? But then get this, y'all. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, you only get 2,000 tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. So my tokens are going to be used. Yep. So they basically or essentially went up almost to the same price as the very one that they're knocking off. And then I
Yeah.
got mad and I says, hey, I saw a video and the guy says, you don't have to get this, not this app, but another one. You don't have to do it because they're basically just calling the API as such and such. So couldn't you create your own? All you're paying for, everybody, is this, the interface, this
Mm-hmm.
pretty little thing right here. But if you go, I don't need pretty, I need effective,
Mm-hmm.
you build it yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you face when you create stuff like this. And you got somebody that knows how to code up some things, vibe code some stuff up, or just understands business enough
Yeah.
that they go, let's go to this source. Right
Yeah.
now, here, like consultants, like you and I are,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I tell people, bring your AI with you. And they're like, really? But doesn't that kind of replace you? I says, mm-mm. Because I also know, like Rob said earlier, you're gonna get so overwhelmed with what's possible, you ain't gonna do nothing.
Yep. 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 That's the whole deal. What I do is not what I do is the thinking part. The AI can do the giving you information, the researching, the figuring out. What I do is the helping you decide part. And what I have found is that even though AIs can their AIs can ask the questions, there's a component to coaching that is connection. And that's the thing that right AIs aren't going to be able to do, at least not in the anytime in the too near future.
Yeah,
Eventually, right? They already are starting to put emotions and right emotional logic and stuff like that into AIs as well. But that's going to be a fun thing to see. But
yeah.
this has been a ton of stuff. I think hopefully y'all as y'all have been listening, like this is what I'm talking about. Like Randy is into this stuff at a level that I don't think many of you all understand because we talk about it a little bit, but y'all don't get into like one of the things that I wanted in this episode was for him to get into his bag and to go
I'm
and
10
show you all
toes
how
down,
this
brother.
stuff works, right? So make sure, Randy, you put some stuff in the show notes because you got links to different tools that you use. But also, if you all want to do a consultation and you want to kind of talk to Randy about how to do all of these different types of things, because there's a number of steps, right? And we know that sometimes it can seem like, oh, it's just do one, two, three, but there's probably 10 steps in that one, two, three that if you got somebody, if you have a coach like Randy that can walk you through and can explain to you how to connect the things, it just makes your journey that much faster. So I highly recommend y'all kind
This
of
is
reach
it.
out,
Let us
buy them a
mastermind on
coffee.
your business.
There you go. And reach out in the comments or shoot an email and we can definitely help you move that forward. And this is what Randy does every day and
All
show
day,
you
every
how to
day.
make money with your business, which with what you're doing already right now. So
That's it.
hopefully y'all had a good show. This was a ton of value for me. I learned stuff. That's one of the reasons why I love doing the show. I learn stuff every time. I'm like, this is amazing.
Good. All right. We'll see y'all on the next one.